As you see, the character I'm talking about from the title of this video is Lloyd Frontera, from the Greatest Estate Developer. And for those who don't know, Lloyd is usually known as Suho Kim before coming into this world. And he was also known as a broke college student with no friends or family, and has always struggled with money. And aside from the devilish grin that he's known for, the author gets more in detail with, I also feel like we're missing a part of Lloyd's story. And what I mean by this is saying that Lloyd's story is scattered throughout the story, and I want to make this a clear, concise story, laying out the hidden parts of Lloyd that gets forgotten about or drowned out by the comedy of the story. Throughout the story, we see Lloyd goes through a great length to solve his current family's debt crisis, and many will say he's doing this because he doesn't want to be broke again, and he's doing this out of his own self-interest, which I do believe is correct, but I do believe there's much more to this. For example, in training preparation for a deal with Newman, we can still see that Lloyd's past life still has a significant effect on him, to a point where he says his current situation is easy compared to what he had faced in his past life. In one of the flashbacks of his past life in the webtoon, he kept choosing a non-aggression route with an older man at work, and this older man was the type to abuse the fact he was older to make life hard for younglings. One day at work, the old man took it too far and decided to insult his parents, which caused him to lose it and attack the old man. And he thought his life at work was over, but instead what happened was the old man left him alone, cementing the idea that violence and punishment isn't always a bad thing, which was why in the scene with Newman was defeated after Lord won the duel, and beating him mercilessly with a shovel mainly played for laughs, and it since showed Lloyd's maturity, because in the action he threw up Prong to set up Newman to show that the frontier state is strong and not to be messed with, and at the same time merciful, because he let Newman leave with his life even though we know he could have been executed for his action. We see the same thing with this state fraudman, where he could have easily killed him, but instead Lloyd makes him sign a labor contract. And I know a labor contract is anything but fair, but it's better than dying, and we know Lloyd likes his money. The next thing I like to mention is that the clashes between the personality of Lloyd and Javier. As we know, Javier is the protagonist of the novel Suho Kim was sent to, and as we can see, sometimes Javier is too self-righteous to a point where sometimes Lloyd is right or both are right and no one is wrong situation. Like where they found the necromancer who kidnapped the soldiers of the estate. We can see that in the novel, Javier kept letting him go, even though Javier should have never let him go to begin with. So to stop him from being a problem in the future, he just asked Javier to slay him then and now, showing how one is too merciful while the other one knows when to show mercy. While some people might think Lloyd is being a coward, not following Javier to fight the Giga Titan in the beginning, you have to be more realistic that neither Lloyd or Javier is strong enough to fight the Giga Titan, but we have Javier being too self-righteous to fight the thing without no plan. And while Lloyd is cutting his losses, trying to protect himself, and you gotta remember that the only reason why the estate is making money is because of Lloyd. So if Lloyd's gone, who's gonna step up to take care of the family's financial problems? Also, another quick thing, Javier forgets everyone is not like him, a prodigy who can easily protect himself. It is naive on his part to think that Lloyd will just help with no complaints, but Lloyd does change his mind to help Javier. But it says it's for money, but I do think it's a half-truth, as in I think Lloyd is lying to himself, because before going to help Javier, he says to himself that he's just a human, and it hurts his heart to see a city get destroyed and people get hurt. But what can he do before he has silence thoughts to himself? And what I think these silent thoughts are to him thinking is, if I don't do anything now when I have the power to change anything or to do something, well, I'd be condemning myself to the same fate in my past life where I was powerless to change the circumstances. And the reason I say this is because we see a trend in the story where every time he's making an important decision or changing his mind involves something in his past life as Suho Kim. If this is not good enough for you, remember how Lloyd used endless forward to see what will happen in the future, and he saw how his state was destroyed by locusts from the monster Domino, and how his future self was bawling that he couldn't save everyone. Well, when this current time of Lloyd saw this, he rushed over to save the state just in time. But when his parents came over to see if he was okay, and they were grateful that he saved the estate, he was thinking to himself, well, I did this for my own retirement, and it's probably out of my own benefit. But the thing is, this is clearly a lie, considering how he saw his other self act when he saw his parents died and how distraught he was. But I digress. I want to talk about one more thing before ending this video. When Lloyd finally paid off his family debt and his father thanked him, I noticed he still hasn't called his father father yet in the story. And I know it's not his real father, but he spent so much time with the family and gone through great lengths to get rid of their debt. Lloyd himself says to himself, why do I feel so flat after paying off the debt? And this is where we see Lloyd having flashbacks of his past life with his mom and dad, and he starts crying, saying, I finally done it, but sorry I couldn't help you, father. Representing, in my opinion, Lloyd keeping his promise to his father in this life, but realizing he couldn't make up for his inability to help his father in his past life. But in my own opinion, you're a child. What can you do? But I see where he's coming from. I like to reiterate that this isn't me saying the author did a bad job or anything. I'm just saying he lose sight of Lloyd's character throughout the story because of the comedy of the story. So I made this to point out to people that Lloyd isn't just a funny haha man all the time. But this is all I have for today, and until next time.